I get all set up here. I'm jumping call to call tonight. I'm getting all set up. Beth got me on point. How's everybody doing tonight? Somebody give me a win from this week. I'm gonna get you people talking before I start going on rants.
I lost another 5 pounds.
Oh my God. Well, let me go look. I'm looking. Congratulations. That's awesome.
Thanks.
Ooh.
I didn't die on leg day from my evil coach's workout.
Look, I got you on a whole different ball game, buddy. You're on a whole different ball game than these people. Don't scare them away.
Go
I'm
get my
trying to
water.
I'm trying to build a much stronger ninja with you.
I'm, yeah, I'm also what 6 or 7 months into working with you, so it's a little bit different. So
6 or 7 months. You might see something that looks familiar tonight when we get in here then. I'm gonna see if you catch it. Nobody else got to win this week, should I? Or do you want me to just jump right in and then leave room for questions at the end? Because I made all sorts of content tonight.
I just did my first macro-friendly meal and it's in the oven right now, so I'm pretty excited.
First
Instead of
macro
just
friendly
eating
meal.
ingredients, like putting together a casserole, so I'm excited.
All right, I like it. What is the fill me in? What is it?
It's a chicken parmesan casserole, so chicken, some marinara, a bunch of different cheese,
You look
some
good
almond
in
flour to make a
not
little
just crunch.
crust.
Ooh, you're making me hungry. We have healthy taco night. We do pretty much every Wednesday. So we don't do Taco Tuesdays here. We do Taco Wednesdays because we pair it with Survivor. And Survivor's not on right now, so we've been skipping, but we're having Taco Bowl. So seasoned turkey taco, turkey chicken, ground chicken, and lettuce and all that other fun stuff to make a nice little bowl. I'm looking forward to that. I hope I smell it cooking about halfway through here, and I don't have to wait till 8.
I got my mom dinner in the car once again.
You got your mom dinner in the car?
Mom dinner.
What is it? It's not Buffalo Wild Wings, right?
No, it's exactly what I had last night. A salad with turkey dogs on top.
Okay.
Got
Salad with
my
turkey
fat,
dogs on top.
fat, carbs, cheese,
I'll take it.
salad, broccoli, carrots.
I'm gonna try to make things. I hope things don't go haywire, but I'm gonna attempt to open up Zoom on my phone as well. No, it's gonna make me switch. That way I can look at your questions in the chat tonight while, let's see, let's try going on a different account for Zoom. That way I can drive on my prep PowerPoint, but also look at questions while we go. Mom dinner sounds good though. So I'm not texting right now. I'm just trying to multitask. That way I can get into two Zooms at once. I tried mirroring my screen. It didn't work. It didn't work. Let's join.
Recording in progress.
I got it.
Oh, you gotta mute it.
Yep, I'm muting. Good. We're on mute. Microphone's muted. Should be good to go now. I can kind of hear myself talk, but that's not bad. Y'all can hear me well now?
Yeah.
And let's mute second me. Nope.
Don't forget to mute all of us,
I'm going to.
like you were good.
Believe me, I'm going to. Let me open up the chat on here so I can see that. Stay muted. Where's the chat on the phone? There we go. I'm in the chat so I can see what you're typing. I'm gonna mute all, come through the chat. I'll hopefully leave some questions for the tail end of this. Hearing my voice very minimally is gonna drive me crazy. Beth, is it cold there?
At my
Here
place,
it's not cold, but it is pouring. I don't know who you're talking to me.
I have like 3 bets on here. I should have been specific. Yeah, I saw you in the jacket.
Oh yeah. It's baseball tryouts and we just got done with the thunder and lightning storm, so
Fun.
that's why I got the big Mickey raincoat.
Mickey raincoat. I like it. All right, we're all going on mute and I'm gonna share my screen. Come raise your hand if you want to say something. Let you chime in. Share screen. Boom, boom, boom. Tonight's focus is nutrition. That was requested last week. That means the next one will be strength training. Get a little deep dive. I was probably going overboard on this. I hope I don't go too crazy on the time, but we'll see. We'll see. I tend to go overboard. But nutrition 101 tonight. So, agenda for it, what macros are and how they work, why protein is your metabolism's best friend, how to set calorie goals for fat loss, muscle gain, or maintenance, what a typical journey looks like, diet trends, and just some pro tips at the tail end to get us through it. So macros, we talked a little bit about this the other day. Macros, short for macronutrients, are the three main nutrients that provide energy, protein, carbs, and fats. So they're the big players in your nutrition game. As we get deeper, I'll talk a little bit about micronutrients and all that fun stuff, vitamins and minerals, all those goods. But tonight we're focused on the macros. So each has a caloric value. Big important thing to know: protein, 4 calories per gram, carbs, 4 calories per gram. Makes it super simple. Fat's the tricky one. There's 9 calories per gram. So that's why it's very easy. Michelle's not on the call. She asked me to record, but Michelle loves peanut butter, which is super easy, Michelle, for you to go overboard on your calories when you go all in on the peanut butter. So that's why we watch out for those fats while healthy. Easy to go overboard there. Oh man, I hope I left enough room that I can actually read this with my little side screen. Let's minimize that. Good. Fats, the good stuff about fats. So, energy source, they're concentrated source of energy, provide twice as many calories per gram, a little more than twice as many per gram versus carbs and protein. They help with nutrient absorption. So, essential for absorbing fat soluble vitamins. When we talk about vitamins later on, A, D, E, and K are the fat soluble ones. You can take them. If you got no fat in your diet, you're not really going to absorb much of them. Heart health. So, I think for my the 20-year-olds on the call, the 22-year-olds on the call, they probably don't remember the fat-free craze. And I remember all the crazes, but fat-free was a huge one. Everything is fat-free, low fat, and fat is actually not inherently the devil. So it can lower bad cholesterol, LDL cholesterol, reducing the risk of heart disease. Monounsaturated and polyunsaturated are the good ones. So those are the fats you want in your diet. They reduce inflammation, so omega-3s. If you're not supplementing with omega-3s, I do recommend doing that sooner rather than later. It's one of the better supplements you can take. Improves blood pressure by preventing plaque buildup in the arteries. Improves blood sugar control. Monounsaturated fats can help regulate good blood. Oh, there's my first typo of this challenge. Can help you regulate good blue sugar levels, blood sugar levels. Hormone production. So fats are necessary for producing testosterone and estrogen. So this one's probably, I mean, testosterone just as important for the men as it is the women, but women, if you go too low on fats, you're going to have a lot of disruption to your estrogen, and that is bad news bears. It'll throw you off, and if the fat goes way too low and you're trying to completely cut out fat, you might notice irritability. Things could get really bad, and you might notice a little hair loss. So you want to avoid going too low on the fats. Brain function definitely essential for that. So that fats are a major component of brain tissue, crucial for brain function. Organ protection. Having tech issues and kids don't know what inside volume looks like. I can't hear. You better watch later, Allison. That's your homework. I like a little distraction. Good, it worked that I can read over here on my phone. Satiety. So I talked about that with protein. It's also very big on fats. Eat a big old steak, you're not going to be hungry later on. So it can contribute to feelings of fullness after eating. And also, cell structure. Fats are a key component of cell membranes. And I see a lot of messages coming through, but I'm only seeing two on my phone. So that's all good. Fats are not all created equal. Saturated and trans. Look how delicious, back for a second. Look how delicious that avocado looks. Healthy fat. Look how delicious those ones all at the bottom look. French fries, burgers, fried wings, pizza. Unfortunately, those are loaded with saturated and or trans fat. So saturated increases LDL cholesterol and contributes to plaque buildup in the arteries. Even if I eat something too fatty, I'm breathing a little heavier. It's no bueno. Increased risk of heart disease and stroke risk due to that plaque buildup. Some have been linked to an increase in cancer or type 2 diabetes, so no bueno on all those. Trans fats almost almost the same negative effects, but they're considered to be the worst type for heart health, which as you get older, I didn't give a damn about heart health. I only wanted to look good in the mirror at 25, and now everything is heart health. I want to live long, feel strong, and be good. Knows how to incorporate macro friendly pizza, let me know. I got some recipes I'll share. Macro friendly pizza. But trans fats, they raise the LDL, lower the HDL, which is the good, no bueno, and increase risk of heart disease and stroke, increased inflammation, risk of diabetes, and certain cancers. It's very interesting. If you don't eat this stuff regularly, like I don't have a lot of burgers and french fries regularly, but I do love a good burger and french fries. I will notice inflammation the next day. My body will inflame right away. I don't have an allergy. I don't have an aversion to them. It's just my body's not used to them anymore. And you don't realize, I guess, how good you feel until you start feeling good. I ate all that stuff growing up very regularly. My first job at 16 years old was in the mall, and I had McDonald's probably 4 or 5 times a week with a big old soda. So it was a regular source of fuel for me. And till I cut that stuff out, I didn't realize how good my body was meant to feel. So saturated and trans fats, less healthy and should be limited. Carbs, this is the big one for the runners. We'll talk deep about, running fuel as we get deeper into the challenge, and carbs are going to be a big hot topic there. So the good is the body's preferred energy source. That's why runners tend to use them. They provide glucose used to power the cells, muscles, and the brain. Brain function also important for carbs, so relies heavily on glucose for optimal brain function. Muscle function, essential for providing energy for physical activity and muscle movement. If you were on Monday night's call, I talked about doing keto for probably 2 years and just feel like I left a lot of potential on the table when I was in the gym and didn't realize it until I started incorporating those carbs again. Fiber is a big one, especially as you age. So plays a crucial role in digestion, promotes regularity, and potentially lowers bad cholesterol. Shoot for a minimum of 25 grams of fiber every day, and that's a good rule of thumb, good goal number there. Blood sugar regulation. So complex carbs, whole grains, veggies, they help stabilize blood sugar levels. We're going to see the other side of that when I go to the next slide. But fiber rich carbs, they help you feel fuller, potentially reduce overall calorie intake. Again, along with that satiety, the fiber rich ones really fill you up versus the bag of Cheetos. So, with that, whole grains, fruits, veggies, packed with vitamins and minerals, other nutrients. I get geek out when I go to the supplements and talking about vitamins and minerals in a couple weeks. Like somebody reel me back down to earth because I would take 1 million supplements if I'd take every vitamin just to make sure I have more than enough. I want to live healthy, live long. They can also influence mood and sleep patterns by affecting serotonin levels in the brain. So a lot of people say, "Oh, should you have carbs close to bed?" I find when I have a cup of rice or half a cup of rice or so, about two with my meal about 2 hours, 3 hours before bedtime, I sleep better. And I've been known to go deep in the diet, deep into the cut, as they say. And when I'm cutting those carbs down, my sleep gets disrupted. I'm waking up in the middle of the night, just quality goes way downhill, which you don't want. Let's get to the ugly side of carbs. You say carbs past the damn chips. Look how tasty the pictures look at the bottom on all the bad ones. I'm sorry for that. But the simple carbs like white bread, donuts, sugary drinks, and candy, those digest super fast. So you ton of runners on here. You're used to the goos, you're used to the gels. That is fantastic when you're on a 13 plus mile run. You need that kind of fuel. You want something that digests quick. If you're trying to lose a little weight, you don't want that on a casual Tuesday while you're sitting in the office. So white bread, donuts, sugary drinks, they just all lead to excess weight gain and potentially obesity with that. Refined carbs, those with added sugars, definitely been linked to an increased risk of heart disease. Well, that's because you get the excess weight gain, you get the potential obesity, and that spiral just turns into a spiral. I gotta have some of my water. Although I'm looking at that coffee and I want it. Should have picked better pictures. I thought I muted everybody. Heather, mute yourself. Blood sugar spikes and energy fluctuation. So quick spike in sugar followed by a crash. I was getting that donut in and then just feeling good for about an hour. And then I'm tired. I'm drained. I've had enough. Don't want it. Protein, I'm only giving you the good here. I haven't found much negativity on protein. There's so many trends in the health, fitness, wellness, diet, nutrition space. There's a new trend coming out every month, a new fad coming out. And like I said before, there was the low fat of the what was that, the 80s, Lance? You remember that. Oh, doggone Lance a little bit tonight. So there was low fat back in the day, then it became low carbs with Atkins that flowed into keto. And now the biggest buzzword is protein, which as somebody who's followed like a higher protein diet for over 10 years now, it seems like a no-brainer to me. It's worked. It's worked, and everybody I know who follows it, it works for them. So I'm happy to see that that's the current trend. But muscle growth and repair, it's essential for building and repairing muscle. So group fitness coach for years, seeing people in gyms for years, and man, I did an 8 week transformation challenge in this gym, and I was here 5 days a week. And my goal was to gain muscle. And I take one look at their MyFitnessPal or whatever tracking drug of choice they use. And I'm like, you were averaging 50 grams of protein a day. You're a 200-pound man. You essentially have broken down all the muscle, but didn't give it the tools to rebuild. So it's very easy to pinpoint sometimes why somebody doesn't see progress when that protein's so low. Helps prevent muscle loss during weight loss. So I've talked about that with the GLP-1s, where those don't choose what kind of they don't target fat. They target calories, that calorie reduction. If you're weight training, it's gonna help offset it. It's gonna help offset the muscle loss. But having enough protein in your diet if you're on a GLP-1 is gonna help ensure you lose the fat and not the muscle, which I think when you look at the pictures afterwards, you're like, man, I'm glad I held on to that muscle. Satiety, protein has the highest satiety of all of the macros. So helps you feel fuller, longer, reduces overall calorie intake, aids in weight loss. Heather's on here. I just asked her to mute, but she's somebody who went through that. She bumped up her protein during what did we do? We did a 4 week 4 week protein challenge in my group coaching, and Heather bumped up. She got closer to where I put her goal, and she continued to see the weight go down at a faster rate than she was seeing before. She was seeing pretty consistent on a weekly basis, but I think it went up. It went from like 1 to 1.5. Heather, you can correct me in the chat if I'm wrong, but she had a solid 8 weeks of just pile driving the pounds off. So it was a good time. Thermic effect, which is grand scheme of things, very small. It's probably about 10% of your metabolic rate on thermic effect or your calories burned daily. But your body basically has to work harder to digest protein. So what that does, it's working harder, means it's boosting the metabolism. Think of it like a furnace. You put the protein in, your body burns a little hotter. So that's what we want. Even though it's a small effect, it has an overall huge, part of this bigger picture. Part of the bigger picture. So it helps your body burn more calories throughout the day. Plays a role in maintaining bone density, improving bone density. That's why as you get older, protein super, super important for, preventing osteoporosis and fractures. I should just read my notes sometimes. This is why I make these slides so I can stay on track. It's a vital component of the immune system, helps fight off infection and illness. It's involved in the production of various hormones, regulating body processes. It's utilized for energy when carbs and fats are low. So if I'm dieting down, protein's the last thing I cut down on. If I very rarely even cut protein at all, it will, I'll always try to maintain about 210 to 200 grams of protein on a daily basis. Carbs go low, fats go low. So having that protein, some of it ends up going into energy use when both of those are low. Contributes to health of skin, hair, and nails. I talked about that a little bit on Monday, but just think of collagen. Collagen protein, you see it out there all the time. Essential for hair and nails and skin. Lean protein can help improve cholesterol levels and blood pressure, and it can also stabilize blood sugar levels. Now, this is an important one because some of you, some of you are going to hang out with me after this 8 week challenge. Some of you are going to be on your merry way, and I want to, and it's something I run. If somebody says I'm working with Lance one on one, if we hit Lance's goal, I'm going to take him through figuring out all of these numbers before he says goodbye to me. I hope he doesn't anytime soon because I like our little Thursday chats this week, Friday. But if he hits his goal and says, oh, I feel confident in going on in the future, I want to set you up for after you're done with me. I don't want you to call me in 6 months and say I gained 50 pounds back, coach. You let me go, and no, I want to get a message from you in 6 months being like, dude, look at this picture of me on the beach. I lost an extra 10 pounds since I was done with you. So there's a little tool you can go to called TDEE So I use it to double check all my numbers. Your numbers might be slightly off from what I set there. I try to use your history, anything you put on the intake form to also affect that because a calculator is great, but there's a lot of variations in every single one of the people on the call, every single person in the challenge. So your life takes a whole big toll on this. Your background takes a toll on it. So, but this is a general, really good baseline to find a starting point and see where you have to go from there. So I plugged myself into this for this example, and we want to see first thing, Debbie, it's tdeecalculator.net. Don't go to .com. They'll try to sell you stuff. I made that mistake earlier while I was pulling these screenshots. Lost my train of thought, but my basal metabolic rate, 1941 calories per day. That is what my body burns at rest with no activity based on this calculator. And the screenshot I didn't share, let me sidetrack real quick as I do. Screenshot I didn't share is I actually had a test done yesterday to see. So basal metabolic rate, calories at rest, not concerned with any activity in the day, not concerned with any of that other fun stuff. That's just what I'm burning when I'm chilling. Let's see if I can get this app to load where my stats are and not take too much time. Silly app. Let's go activity, body comp. Had mine tested yesterday. My metabolic rate, according to the machine I used yesterday, was a little closer to 2,786 calories. So what this doesn't account for when you go to TDE calculator is how much muscle mass you have on you. Based on the scale I used yesterday, I have 116 pounds of muscle mass, which is above average. It is not the norm there. Not what you're going to see on most people. So first thing you'll see is sedentary. I just selected that because I know I'm not sedentary, but I selected that. That's why it's the highlighted one. But if I'm sitting in a chair all day and just do a minimal movement, I'm burning about 2,330 calories based off this generic equation. We incorporate light exercise, it goes up by 339 calories there. So again, estimate. My light exercise might be different than Heather's light exercise, than Val's light exercise. We go up from there, goes up to 3,009 calories per day. Heavy exercise, 3,349 calories per day. Athletic, 3,689 calories per day. So athlete is usually a 2 a day type of workout. Knowing my metabolic rate is on that higher range just after years of training and working out a lot and building muscle, I tend to lean towards the calories associated with the athlete section there regardless. So that's if I want to maintain, I hang out there. I highly recommend, and I have to keep my mouth shut. So sometimes, who was it? It was Alan Young on Rise and Run. He was on the Facebook page. He asked what everybody's opinion on BMI was, and these are my numbers. So if you look, my BMI is 27.2, which classifies me as overweight. I've actually moved from the obese category very recently. when my weight was about 5 pounds higher, I was classified as obese by BMI. So it's an ugly number, it's a stupid number, and I hate it. I hate it. I'm overweight. And looking at the other scan I did yesterday, it registered me about 6.3% body fat. So I don't think that's overweight. Ideal body weight, when you look at that on that website, they even say it right here. It's estimated between 167 and 189. I'm 212.6 as of today, so I'm above my ideal weight. It says it right there. These formulas are based on your height and represent averages. Don't take them too seriously, especially if you lift weights. So your muscle mass in your body is going to have a huge, huge impact on what you see there. Oh man, I got 17%. If you lose me in the chat and I start missing questions, it's because I only have seven. Thank you, Lance. It's only because I got 17% battery left. Story of my life. It's also going to spit out these fun numbers. So your next step after finding all that information, there's a little button below. You'll see these charts. The first one it's going to give you is your maintenance calories. So 2330 maintenance, that's what you see right there. That's if I'm sedentary, I'm burning 2330. So this chart is all figured out off of those maintenance calories. Now, these moderate carb, lower carb, higher carb, that has been the same on my Fitness Pal or on TDE calculator since I first used it in probably 2007 or 8 or I don't know 10. I'm not good with figuring out years. Everything becomes a blur when you get old. But those have been the same figures on there. There's a lot of different schools of thought, but now, it's getting more and more prevalent that protein and carbs, protein should be close to about 1 gram per pound of your goal body weight. So again, if you're somebody that's not working out and I didn't think you were getting much protein in any before, I'm not going to set you up with 200 grams of protein if you were getting in 100 grams before doing the challenge. Just set you up for failure. So looking at the individual comes into play here. Maintenance is where you live at. So if I want to stay comfortably at my weight, I would stay closer to those maintenance calories. We know mine aren't actually 2330, but I'd stay closer to the ones seen on that heavy exercise to athlete, somewhere in that 3349 to 3689 range. Cutting should be about 500 lower than that. Now, 500, the logic there, 500 calories, 3,500 calories in a pound. So 500 times 7 days a week equals 3,500. That is about a pound a week of weight loss, which is sustainable, maintainable, and you're less likely to regain it all at the end. I see people going to these dangerous cuts of, 12, 1,500 calories. A lot of them put it back on right after. And I will never back that. I'll never support it. Bulking, 500 calories plus. 500 plus, 2830 it figured for me. And then it just gives little breakdowns there. I I see you, Lance. I see you. I'm going to get to your question in a second. I lean towards the path of least resistance first, the majority of time on this. So if I can give you a 250 calorie cut, 250 calories down per day, which, like I shared in the chat last night, that could be a Starbucks drink. It's very sustainable for most people to cut out one Starbucks drink. I think if Mary's on here, Mary, I think I tried to get her to cut out one of her 4 Cokes a day when we first started, and she did it, and she saw almost instant results just by cutting down one Coke for a person who's drank Coca-Cola her whole life. So if we can find that path of least resistance, if 250 does it, why go to 500 before you have to? I'm cutting right now by 250 and I'm already seeing differences. When I'll go to that 500 mark is when I get closer, when I hit a brick wall. If it doesn't go down for a couple weeks, I can dig the hole a little deeper without having to just continue to dig my way to the bottom of that hole. Lance would say, how would you classify light, moderate, and heavy exercise? So going back here, sedentary, sitting on your butt, sitting on your butt, not doing anything, maybe sitting in your law office, chatting with your partner, getting massages all the time, Lance, just living your best life. Light exercise is probably where people start. what the first inclination on most people's journey is let me start by running because running is a very low barrier of entry. Weights can be intimidating, they scare a lot of people, but everybody, it's not, I shouldn't say everybody, but the vast majority of people at some portion of their life, barring a handicap or something else, started running at some point in life already. So it's the door's wide open there. There's less fear. That's that person that starts with a 20-minute jog a couple times a week. They're getting moving. They're getting moving, but they're not up to like training for a 5K, 10K half marathon just yet. Moderate, that's where you're in a consistent 30 to 50 minutes, maybe, you know, strength training once or twice a week and running once or twice a week on top of that. Heavy exercise, you're going to be your 5 day a week person, maybe even getting it on Saturday, a light workout. You like to be in the gym and do that athlete, like that's that person that goes for a run 5 days a week at 5 o'clock in the morning and then is back in the gym at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And my office sometimes is a gym. Like I will sit in the gym lobby. Some of y'all know that my one-on-ones, like if you book a call at 9 a.m., there's a good chance you're gonna get me in the gym lobby and I'll still have my tank top on. And I sit and then sometimes I go back because they got a nice hot tub. I'll see people that are there multiple times a day. And I'm like, weren't you here at 5 o'clock? 5 o'clock in the morning? And then they go back for more. Some people addicted. I kind of vibe with those people. So, but athlete, you're talking 2 times a day, at least 5 days a week. Those people are usually doing a little extra for recovery. Lance, does that kind of answer it? Stop at half bagels in the morning. I don't eat breakfast. I'm making egg protein bites to replace the bagel. I do need something in the morning. I love the egg protein bites. Kim makes those every once in a while. I love them. I was in a pinch this morning because I went right from the gym. I went right from the gym. I had a call with Ileana. I had a couple calls this morning. And I right after I got off the call with Ileana, on my way into the car, I grabbed egg things at Starbucks. Those little egg and Gruyere bacon bites. But those are a good one, Kathy. Easy to make at home. All right, we went over this. So that's where I'd head first. If you decide you want to continue your journey, you don't continue without me. But those numbers too, they change. If you lose, so I won't change them on a regular basis. So I'm gonna use Heather as an example. Heather asked me, getting closer to my goal, should we change calories? Should we change calories again? And I said, you're going down a pound, pound and a half, 2 pounds every week steady. Let's wait until you stop. So if she stops, we're gonna plug all these numbers back into my system. And I'm gonna say, all right, here's where I think the new one should be. Let's see if that breaks us through our stuck point. So if you're stuck, that might be a good time. That's a good time to adjust. Very similar to Starbucks egg whites. Costco's got them. Lance, we got a Costco trip going this Sunday. I cannot wait. So the typical journey, it does not exist, but I want to give you some good examples of what I see and run you through like what's generally happened. So this is somebody I've been hanging out with since August. And I think she had a vacation, but she's still waiting and then spiked up right before here at 180. So we look at that as the start point. Then they saw some initial loss, couple initial big drops, which once you just start doing a few small habits, I usually anticipate that. I anticipate unless you're small too, because I had a couple calls this week, somebody that's already at 120 pounds, and we're looking to milk out that, last 5 or 10 for y'all. You might be in a different position. But when we started at 180, we saw a good substantial initial drop. And then you know what? The weekend hit, we bounced back up and then it crawled back down a little bit. Oh, and then there was a bad day here and it bounces back up. These small ones, and I don't think you can see my arrow. Can you see my arrow? Oh, yeah, you can see my arrow. I'm looking at it on my phone too. Uh, you learn something new every day. Came down, those little small ones, hydration, inflammation can happen. But then consistent small, little bump up, consistent small, little bump up, little stagnant. That it happens. It happens. Good drop here. And then I think, we're at no, if you look November 24, holiday spike. That's normal for everybody. But the beautiful thing, and I'm going to say this 1,000 times before the end of 8 weeks, the beautiful thing about a holiday spike, it gives your body a little shock. So you hit it with a bunch of calories, not used to it, metabolism kind of ramps back up again. Anybody that on in nutrition, they take diet breaks. I take diet breaks all the time. This was a small one. It was just a holiday weekend, but it ramped her up and then bam, she crashed right below. Crashed right below, saw some consistent loss. And now here's the real hard part is going into this holiday season. And she managed to hold through. I want to say I wish it showed December where that break was somewhere around here, but I think this was probably coming into Christmas, New Year's week. We had a bump, and then she was right back on track. It's the same pounds though. That's me every week, but it's the same pounds though. We're gonna unpack that more, Miss Beth. We're gonna break that there. And then consistency. There was a long vacation in here, long vacation, and kind of struggled to bounce back a little bit, dropped again, got back right to her bottom there. Had some days where she came up, and then you look for it, even if it comes up, you look for it to fall lower than the prior lowest. Came up, she fell lower again. Came up a little bit, fell lower again. That's a good one. That's a really good example. And I'll say it again for the next ones. It's never a straight line. It's never a straight line. It is always bumpy on any of them that you see. Looking down at this one, fairly consistent, fairly consistent. Little bump up for the holidays, fairly consistent, fairly consistent. The only time I've ever seen such a straight trend line for that duration with no increase. And I can unpack exactly why that happened. So this particular person that I work one-on-one with decided she was going to give up sugar for Lent. I'm not saying you got to give up sugar, but she said, I'm going to give up sugar for Lent. And the fun part of this story is nobody busted her stones about being on a diet. Nobody busted her stones about, oh, you always have to eat healthy. Oh my God, just have one donut. She said she was doing it for Lent and no one gave her a bit of freaking grief because it was for religious purposes and not. She stayed sugar free all the way through Lent and a little bit after. Had a little trip, bumped up. Had a little, went right back down. Had a little trip, bumped up, right back down, right back down. And cruising, we are so close to goal weight. You know that's your chart, and we're staring it down. This one's interesting. So this one I talked about two women. This one's a male, but again, initial substantial loss. I like to show a little bit of everybody. Typical journey doesn't exist. I know this guy's weekends. This guy's like me. He's like Coach Tom, where he likes to, occasionally have a beer with some friends and go have some fried food. I could talk about that too, Laura. Drop a beer, have a good time with some friends. I'll touch back to that. She just realized that Heather realized that second one was her. Was it talking about Lent? That was the dead giveaway for you, Heather? Yep. I figured. I threw you a bone to figure that one was yours. Thank you for letting me share your chart. I wasn't going to call you out unless you called yourself out. But yeah, has a good time on the weekends, drops down. Has a good time on the weekends, drops right back down. Steady, 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 dropping down. Look, enjoys life. It's okay to have one very similar to that. The interesting thing is that, we've hit a little sticking point at 220 to two, somewhere everywhere in this 220 range, 222 range. Been a little stuck there. But the more important part to me is the guy telling me that he's got to get rid of his favorite belt. So has lost inches, but hasn't lost pounds recently. His wife's made comments that his arms have gotten better. I see him in some pictures. His arms look better. You're welcome. But he's doing the strength training. He's built up a little more muscle. He's focused on gaining a little more muscle. So 5 pounds of muscle up, 5 pounds of fat down. He's still going to be sitting at 220. I have a call with him later this week, and I'm looking forward to hearing what the hell he did over 4th of July weekend that caused this bump up. But we'll chat about that. We'll save that for another time. So diet trends, what works best? Keto, you cut out an entire macro, no carbs. Fasting, it restricts the feeding window. Optavia severely restricts foods. talking about 800 calories. If you are training for a marathon or a half marathon, and you tell me you're doing Optavia, I'm gonna find you at the finish line. I'll find you at the finish line. Atkins also cuts out a food group. They all work by reducing overall caloric intake, all of them. So keto, you're cutting out a food group, cutting out 30 to 35% of you're gonna reduce calorie intake. Fasting, you trim the window, you're most likely going to eat less unless you struggle with self-control during those 6 hours. But generally is harder to eat in a 6 hour window more than you would eat in an 18-hour window. Optavia, again, severely reducing calorie intake. Atkins, you're getting rid of the carbs, reduces intake. If somebody were to say intermittent fasting, you could do it. Women tend to see a little more hormonal issues with it. So I don't recommend it. If you can keep your calories aligned on where they should be, you'd probably be better off there than going the fasting route. And I'm going to touch on fasting at some point during the challenge. And Leslie, I just did a whole thing on that. We can get back to those questions. But what I would personally back, if you told me you were doing a diet, I would say Whole 30 because the focus, Whole 30 and Paleo, we'll throw these two together. The focus is on real food. It's on actual food, and they kind of tie in with FODMAP for the same thing. So FODMAP is essentially elimination type of diet. So you're getting rid of everything getting rid of anything that's not real, and then you introduce something new, something back in. So all right, I'm gonna see how I cut all this stuff out that is not on the FODMAP, Paleo, or Whole 30. I'm gonna reintroduce milk after 30 days. You reintroduce milk. If your stomach goes back to being bloaty, you're gassy, it's probably there's your sign. That's not good for you. It's a trigger type of food for your body. So I'd get on board with any of those. If somebody said I want to try a diet, Whole 30 would probably be the least barrier of entry for the majority of people. Still following their calorie guidelines. I'd always put that over. So tracking calories, having a good balance there is the bottom line. Pro tips for tracking and hitting your macros. So build the meal around your protein source. So I always start with either my chicken or my steak or my fish or my turkey. And then, all right, do we want to add rice? I've been eating ground beef a lot lately, 90-10 ground beef. And I put taco seasoning on it. I add rice and it's like I got a little taco bowl. It's fantastic. Pre-logging your food if you're using MyFitnessPal or if you're using the in-app tracker. So what I will do, because I'm a creature of habit, I can eat the same thing like 5 days a week until dinner time. I like to vary up my dinners, but I'm on the road, I'm on the move a lot. I'm on the road, I'm moving a lot, and I like to have my meals prepped and structured out. I will have everything pre-logged on Sunday and I just match it all. All right, I know that once I incorporate whatever dinner is, I will hit my macros no problem. So I made ground beef, asparagus. It was ground beef, asparagus in every meal in 5 meal prep containers. It was ground bison and asparagus in 5 meal prep containers. There's rice in all those too. And then I did fish in all of them. So I had 3 meals for while I'm on the move. I have a refrigerated lunchbox. Don't judge me. So I don't just keep this stuff in my car in Florida. But pre-planning really helps out. Plan snacks that contain protein. I know I've had a lot of conversations this week, but um, Kim loves to buy Dots pretzels, and they're like the bane of my existence because I can't just have one serving. I go in generally on Sunday when I'm cleaning the house and doing my meal prep. I'll grab a handful and I'll keep going and I'll keep going. And part of me is like, I wish I had just had a protein bar or an egg. It's like a boiled egg sitting there because I eat half the bag. I am guilty of all the honey mustard is the best, Christina. The dots are freaking phenomenal. Y'all are killing me because she's gonna go buy them. She gets them BOGO at Publix, and I get myself in trouble. Who was I just complaining to about the damn dots this week? You could call it out if it was you.
It was me. We were talking about it this morning.
It
It's
was this
Amy.
morning, right?
Yep,
Oh my God. My week is blending.
I understand.
Amy knows. Amy's taking me off the hook. Don't fear carbs. Time them around your workout. So if you can, they're going to give you more fuel to help with the recovery process. Use fat strategically, so a small amount goes a long way. I never knew how much peanut butter I was consuming until the time I measured out a serving size, and I was freaking baffled. I'm like, oh my God, I've been eating 700 grams of or 700 calories worth of peanut butter as a snack. So consistency over perfection is the last thing I'll lead you with on the slides. Perfect. I went fast. I left 15 minutes for questions and me to unpack things. So consistency over perfection. Don't let the tracking overwhelm you. Um, I think it was Michelle said, she had some issues where she felt, she got overwhelmed on the last challenge with tracking. She said she has a better relationship with food when she doesn't. It's a tool. Don't let it drive you crazy. Like I said, I will track during different portions of the year. We're gonna get to questions. I'm gonna come to you, Bethany. I'm gonna come to you once I come out of here. But I go through phases where I track. If we're going on a vacation and I want to get extra feeling good for the cruise and looking good, look, I'm gonna track my calories before then. I want to track my calories before then, but I don't do it all the time because I'm good with my simple structure. Let me close out my phone so that I can come to the chat now without hearing the echo of myself. So when we go back through these questions, Beth, yours was, I'm going through these questions. We got our egg question. Yeah, collagen protein is probably more trendy than useful. I would say it is an incomplete form of protein, but if you want those skin, hair, and nails benefits, I would get that's when I would incorporate some collagen protein. Like I wouldn't rely completely on it, but I would, if you want those benefits, collagen's good. Make sure I don't miss anything else on here. We got that one. We got over our egg bite stuff. Under the goals section of MyFitnessPal, lets you adjust your goals by day. I just increase my carbs and calories on my long run day and my carbs like day before a long run. That's something I'll usually go over. Like if somebody's getting ready for a really long run and they're saying they're kind of deep in the cut. I know we did that with Jenny where we went to a daily calorie goal because she had long runs on the weekend for her training plan. So definitely something I mix in. And carb cycling is another interesting thing you could do if we hit the wall, if since we pulled on Heather's saying Heather's got a couple, what is it, Heather? Is it 5 pounds still goal?
Uh, Before when we started the challenge, it was 12.
We got 12 more to go. Now it's 11.
Yeah, at least.
So, so if she hits a brick wall with those last 11, we saw her chart, she's come a long way. If we had a brick wall there, that's when I would say, hey, Heather, you're probably ready for something a little more advanced, like carb cycling. On the days when I've got you lifting, we're gonna have a good amount of carbs. We're gonna have normal size carbs on Tuesday and Thursday, which are your rest days, and you're only maybe doing a little bit, 20, 30 minutes of cardio, we're going to cut carbs almost completely, where it just gets your body burning through those carbs, but then you reintroduce them so you're not feeling the full on energy loss. So carb cycling is something you could do there. And I like, MyFitnessPal, you can track that day by day. That's me every week. That's me every day. It's the same pounds. Boom, boom, boom. Like these options, going more through. Intermittent fasting, I got some time. So, you know, again, I don't love intermittent fasting completely because I personally, I know when that feeding window opens up, I am, I'm ravenous. I'm like, thank God it is time to eat. I'm also a 5 a.m. workout person. So if I wanted to go, I would want to have. I would want to have fuel by like 6:30 a.m. 6 a.m. Let's call it 6 a.m. the latest, just for even numbers. So 18 hours before that was my math there. What's 1800? Yeah, there we go. So I would die if I had to stop eating dinner at 2 o'clock in the afternoon because I only had, or even earlier than that, if I only had a 6 hour window, I would lose my flipping mind if I had a. It just would personally wouldn't work for me on a 6 hour window. I've done 8 hour windows before, and I just didn't really see any benefit. Um, Now regular fasting, longer than intermittent. That is something I've dabbled into, and plan on very soon going into a longer fast. Not for any kind of weight loss reasons, not for any kind of reasons other than there's been a lot of science coming out about longevity and how you just clean out all the dead cells. So I'm probably going to try a 2 day fast first. Buddy of mine just did it. He don't have a pound to lose. And he was like, I just felt so much mental clarity. He did a 3 day fast with nothing but bone broth and just felt, he was like, I felt so good once I broke through the initial brain fog. Any thoughts on adjusting nutrition based on monthly hormone cycles? Leslie, we're one on one, so I would definitely do that with you. And even if we don't adjust the macros on the regular, I can give you some guidelines on how to adjust. You probably are going to want to go up anywhere from 200 to 300 calories on a daily, if your body reacts negatively. If you don't have to, I wouldn't, but if got you in a deficit, maybe we want to give you a little extra just to support those processes in the body. So you definitely could. We definitely could. That's a good topic one-on-one where I would say, how do you feel during that? Is your energy just in the tank? Do we want to get a little more? It's not gonna kill the progress. Even if we go 200 calories higher for 5 days, that's 1,000. That's not even a pound. Kathy
That's
missed
great. Thank
meeting.
you.
You're welcome. The meeting caught Kathy off guard. That's because I sent the link at 6:29, and I sent a reminder though. One thing I do if I'm not sure what to eat, but I have ideas, I play around with my food in my fitness pal to see what I need to do to hit my macro goals. Do that all the time. I do that all the time, or just toy with it and play it out. Your friendly neighborhood food safety professional says thank you for not leaving your food in your car in Florida. I might, if I'm leaving the house real early, I might leave it out there for a little bit. But I have little freezer things in there. That was one of the best birthday gifts I ever got. A lunchbox with ice packs that built in. Ah, me too. I love dots. We barbecued back on the dots. I'm getting hungry. Wait, Bethany, which question did I miss? Because I thought I was going to come across it. I don't know if she's still here. Bethany. Okay. She'll come back with it. When you're doing a long run, 8 miles or more, what should you be eating before and after? I would bump the carbs up, and listen to your body. I 8 miles or more, I tend to have enough carbs in my system where I don't carb load or anything. I just doesn't, I've never noticed a performance issue there. Anything over 13 is where I feel I need to load. Listen to your body. If you're gassing out on an 8 mile, that's a good sign that that's where you need to be adding about 100 calories by way of carbs. And, as the runs get longer, it's obviously got to be, you go from 8 up to 10, probably closer to 200, 300, and so on. Every probably 2 miles or so, adding a little bit extra in. I'm on the road all day too, job site to job site for construction. How do you heat your meal preps? I have access to microwaves almost everything I go, but I certain meals I can have coldish, but cook everything in advance. I have no problem eating. I can eat rice and I won't eat the veggies cold, which is odd because they're cooked, but I will eat cooked beef and rice, no problem. Cold. What are your thoughts on liquid versus powder collagen? Six in one, half dozen the other. I don't think it's going to be a huge difference there. Ah, can you talk about metabolic adaptation? So, for example, back in my OTF days, I was eating 1,100 to 1,200 and doing OTF, which is Orange Theory. It's a group fitness based class, a week burning around 400 calories each class. One of the coaches said it could be metabolic adaptation. If I want to cut calories down to 1,100, I lose for a few weeks and then it stalls completely. When I increase to a healthy range, 14 to 1500, I gain. So you gain when you're going back up.
That's right.
Cut calories down to 1100, I lose for a few weeks, then it
Mm,
stalls.
yeah.
You went up 300 to 400, I would try smaller, 200 on
Okay.
that break and just see. So metabolic adaptation, you as your calories get lower, your body adapts to those lower calories. So it gets used to, you know, Laura's only giving me 1100 calories. I'm going to down regulate the metabolism because I don't need to burn more than 1100 calories. Doesn't feel the need for it. So that goes back to when I said a lot of people in that are in the fitness industry, whether they're bodybuilders or physique competitors, they incorporate diet breaks. Like it's very normal to take a week, maybe 2 weeks off, and they don't gorge, but they bump the calories back up for a little bit, focus on lifting heavy during that period. See, Laura, that's where I would say your big difference right now would be
Mhm.
is during that period, if you have delicate ears, cover them now. But during that period of you increasing calories 250 to 500, lift
Okay.
heavy as fuck during those 2 weeks.
Okay. That
Lift,
sounds like a
lift
good plan.
like you want all that to go right into trying to build some lean muscle.
Mhm.
Lift heavy as all hell. And what you're doing is cardio based group fitness class where you maybe get 20 minutes of lifting if you're lucky.
Yeah.
Now with a dedicated strength program, you'll be able to actually put on muscle during that period, which is the goal. You rebuild some muscle, keep that metabolism high.
And when you increase up that 250, is it mainly protein that I should be focusing on?
For you, I would say I would probably increase protein there. I would
Okay.
be the main focus. Potentially on you, depend, if 1100 is throwing your hormones in a whack, there's a lot
Mhm.
to unpack there. I'd tell you to get I've known you long enough to tell you to get a hormone panel so we can look
Yeah.
at them. If they're askew, I'd say maybe let's try to get some more fats in. But you go a lot of, I'd probably increase carbs on you last in that situation.
Yes. Oh yeah. If I eat a carb, I'm a circle. So
Oh my
it
God.
does not, my body doesn't respond well to carbs when I increase it. I have the nutritionist that I'm working with, and she has me on 180 carbs a day. She wants me to do 60, 60, and 60. And when I do that, I see gains. So
That's what we want. That's what we want. Dots, pretzels. There's things called Dot's jellies. I don't know what a Dot's jelly is. I don't want to try it because I get myself in trouble. First Form has a delicious collagen coffee creamer. I haven't tried the coffee creamer, but I'm going to. Salted caramel hits every time. I gotta get my First Form order tomorrow. Suggestions for pescatarian. Getting enough protein daily is hard. Everything seems to have 10 grams when I need to get 150 a day. Do you do you do you mind tuna?
Nope, I love tuna. And I
Well,
made egg salad today. It's like every meal, it's hard to get.
I would say eggs, egg
Yeah,
whites,
egg
and and
whites.
tuna. So one of my hacks when I'm really trying to, I think, I talked about in my group coaching that I bumped my protein up to 300 when I was trying to bulk. That is a part-time job trying to get 300 grams of protein in on a daily basis.
I
Uh,
can't imagine.
it's
Holy cow.
exhausting. So every morning before my workout on my way to the gym, my whey has 20 to 22, depending on the flavor I get, grams. I would have that on the way to the gym just to get, and I mean, I was actively trying to bulk up. So I would have one on my way to the gym to have some fuel in me at 4:30 in the morning. And then when I'd leave the gym, and my food scientist will probably yell at me for this, I would have two servings and I would take real protein anytime. I'm not advocating for making a whole diet based on protein, on whey protein, but because my goal was so high, I needed ways to get, I had to look for whey protein to kind of pad my numbers a little bit. So I think they were 20 grams per serving, let's call them. I'd have two of those after my workout, got me to 40 grams. But then I would throw a, what is it, a pint? That's pint size, that one. I would throw the thing of liquid egg whites in there, which was five servings, five servings in the little cart in the carton, and each serving was 5 grams, so that was 25. So my protein shake in the morning was getting me 65 grams plus the one before, 85 grams before my day even really started, before I got into like real meals. And I think I had even gone, I might, no, I was doing 5 by 5, 5 grams per serving of the egg white, and I would have 5 servings of it. And I'd mix them into my protein shake. I didn't notice a difference. So if you don't have an aversion to egg whites and you have a protein you can blend it with, it tastes delicious. I have a friend that did it and he was struggling with keeping it down. We put sugar-free Hershey syrup in it and it made like this creamy chocolate milk and his mind was blown and he still to this day drinks it every day. Sugar-free
So
Hershey.
protein whites in a smoothie. I think I could do that.
Yeah, egg whites. And I mean, if you want to,
Or
if you
egg whites, yeah.
egg whites, if you feel like you're tasting the protein and all, and you have access to, depending on your day, a blender. You could throw blueberries in there, depending on your protein flavor. Blueberries and blackberries. Just get some carbs in there too. The tuna at I think it's Costco or Sam's Club, they come in 50-gram cans. That was another one that was like a staple when I was trying to hit 300 grams daily. It was a nightmare. It was a nightmare. I'm glad I'm back down to 220. How close do you need to be to meet your goals and get points for it? 20%. It needs to be within the yellow. Yes. I love smoothies. Dale will divorce me if I fast. Dale, don't do that. Dale could not live without you. I've known Dale long enough now. I see what I have. Oh, I lost my question. I see what I have left for dinner macro wise and ask ChatGPT to create me a meal that fits. Never let me down. Yogurt and cottage cheese. Leslie, really good recommendations. We're trying to pump up our protein right now. She's making those. I mentioned the chicken tacos, ground chicken tacos. She started putting the single serves of cottage cheese in there. So it's like an extra 20 grams and split between the two of us. It's 10 grams each. So it's just another way to just pad the numbers. What if you have a sensitive stomach and can't eat before a long run? How do you feel during a run? Carrie, I'm in the same boat, girl. That's why I generally do not eat anything mornings or runs. I will have a little extra I eat Chipotle sometimes the night before a run, but my stomach gets all weird. Even with the banana, somebody's like, just have a banana. We're doing a marathon. And I just did not feel well eating it before a long run. So
Same.
trying, try to real food for fueling. I know some people would talk about sweet potatoes, bread. It's all about, finding what works for you. And that's why everybody try it before an actual race. Test it out, make sure it works for you. Shortbread cookies, you got a lot of good ideas in here. That's what I like about coming on here because even if I don't have like again, I'm somebody that stomach bothers them before running. I might not have the best answer for you. We at least got you some other options you can try. Truth, Dale doesn't want to deal with two teenage daughters on his own. Oh, God bless. God bless. I missed Beth's other question. Where was it? She never came back with that. Let's see if I can find it. I don't want to leave any questions. Any questions unanswered? Next week we'll talk weight training. That'll be the standard Monday at 6:30 call. I'm working on just getting a schedule out so that you have like a visual. I'm going to also share, I believe, two PDFs. One of them has, which I'll actually share the slides from this too, in case anybody just wants it to review. I'll share the video, and then I'll share two little pieces of reading, some homework that you can do. But one of them has just all your best types of carbs, all your best types of proteins, all your best types of fats. So things I've built along the way. I had a question back in the chat. I see her saying she had a question, but I don't see the question. Okay, Bethany, you let me know when you get that question, and then we'll touch on that. Oh, I got four new messages while I was looking. Hold on. What about the opposite? I ate before and after, and I'm still hungry. That's okay. You just get hungry. Enjoy your food. You did the work. What are your thoughts on using ketone drinks in conjunction with carbs on long runs? I think ketones are naturally released when you go into a diet like fasting, and I or low carb, just from the lack thereof carbs in the body. I've never seen a benefit with them, and I think it's just another buzzword for the fitness industry to try to make some money off you. That's my personal opinion on it. If they work for you and you feel better, there's, you know, I've also been known to buy into some placebo effects as well. So I support that. We'll be on again Monday at 6:30. Monday at 6:30. I will share some stuff in the chat. I'm also working on my central repository so you can find it. You don't have to dig through the files in the chat. But shoot me any questions you have. We'll talk strength training next week. And yeah, have a successful weekend and rest of the week. Good night, y'all.
Thanks, Tom.
Night.
See you, Larry.